Jonathan Majors is big in the news right now. He is a big-time movie star in an age where there aren't a lot of movie stars these days. Obviously, Creed 3 is doing well at the box office. He plays Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was arrested over the weekend on charges of third-degree assault and second-degree aggravated harassment, amongst others. He has since been released without bail, and he has been charged by the DA. They're going forward on it. Did you guys think that, given the level of his growing fame for somebody like this, that he's becoming more and more famous as we, at a time where he's on the rise, he's not on the decline, that this is going to harm somebody like him in the public eye?
What do you mean?
Do you think this is going to harm his career?
Well, it already is.
Yeah.
I don't think
so. It's not a speculation. It's just a fact.
I mean, I don't think anything comes. I mean, the Army ad notwithstanding, one of the main outcomes of this, guys, is after the charging, Jonathan Majors had recently had a recruitment ad made for
two of
the
them,
Army.
and they were supposed to air during March Madness.
Yes, and the one that was out already has already been pulled, and it will no longer be used ad. So it is harming him to an extent. I don't think this costs him his role at Marvel.
We need to see the footage.
Yeah, I feel like his attorneys are saying, "Oh, we have footage of her recanting," but it's his defense team.
Yeah.
Well, they have footage from
guys,
inside the vehicle in which they were having the altercation.
So let's tell people what happened first. So what happened is his girlfriend believes that she saw Mr. Majors texting another woman on his phone, and she wanted to take his phone and
giving Chris Brown and Rihanna
and get a peek at his phone to see what he was writing. And they said that he put his hands on her neck. And
he's actually just looking at spicy memes on iFunny or something.
Maybe that's what it is. He's a meme lord, or maybe he's he runs a libertarian meme account, and he can't have it.
He was on Am I the A-hole subreddit? Don't look at this.
That's even funnier. So he was arrested and then released without bail. And since then, his lawyers have said that they've got video evidence that proves that he didn't do it, and they've got the recanted testimony of the woman who accused him. That woman is his girlfriend. I didn't see a name listed in any of it, but she went to the police the following day after they slept in different places that night. She went to the police the following day, and because she had bruises on her, that was enough probable cause for them to make an arrest. And this is, I don't know what comes of this. I think that he ends up fine. I think Marvel ends up letting this play out.
He needs Chris Brown's management.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. So
it was a rough couple of years for Chris Brown, but then he's been fine.
Was it really? Because
people were really angry with him for a good solid 9 months, and then
he's just such a good singer that
I know, but he turned his branding from being Michael Jackson light to I'm a thug, and everyone was like, well,
we do have evidence of that.
Well, it's more like, I'm just not going to address this. I'm not going to apologize, and inevitably people move on to the next thing.
They
especially
really
now that we have
maybe
the trending page, people are already going to be thinking about something totally different, be mad at somebody else by the next day, the next week.
I think
maybe Jonathan Majors just needs to learn how to dance.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors, I think the only problem, so they asked him to narrate these Army recruitment ads. He doesn't even appear in them. It's just his voice.
No,
he does.
He appears,
because he's so popular with the youth, right? They thought that this is going to inspire young people to join the military. And I think it's interesting that they are saying, because they're in desperate need of help with recruitment. There are every branch of the military except for active duty Marines, active Navy, and the Space Force missed their recruitment goals last year. And then the Army was we missed their recruitment quota, and so we're going to raise it by 20,000 more.
He's king. He should have been recruiting Space Force people if he's a Marvel worker.
Well, they don't need help. They're fine. The Army needs the help the most. Yeah. And so I think, of course, we want to believe innocent until proven guilty, and maybe there is a video of her recanting. I think he's going to have to withstand a trial is the thing. This is either going to have to go.
He'll settle out of court.
Or there'll be new evidence from the police saying we've dropped charges or something. This will be something that always follows him around. Yeah. So I can't say that Marvel will drop him, but I do think that from now on, when you Google his name, either he was at one point accused of domestic violence, or he was convicted of strangulation and assault will always come up. And if he is convicted, then probably fair. And if it's just something that gets dismissed, if his lawyers are being honest and saying, yes, we do really have this footage of her recanting, then it's sort of it's too bad that this will be the brush that follows him everywhere. I mean, there are so many actors that like get accused of something, everything gets settled, nothing happened, they're completely exonerated, and it still gets attached to the article. When
here's the thing, he's part of the Disney machine, so I think that all it takes is 2 days of Disney writing fluff pieces about how great Kang the Conqueror is, how great Jonathan Majors is as this
But I don't
character.
think Disney wants to be seen defending a domestic
No,
abuser.
I'm saying, but slowly what will happen is enough puff pieces.
We've got
will
a
be,
super chat
will be-
from Clef the Misfit that says, if Ezra Miller could kidnap a teenager to Hawaii and still be the Flash, nothing's going to happen to Majors. Committing crimes only costs your job in Hollywood if you're not currently useful to the entertainment industrial complex.
The problem is the girl was an adult by the time that she left with him, right? So there wasn't a way of proving that there was any type of duress there with the with Dakota Iron Eyes.
Wait.
Remember?
What?
He's talking about Ezra Miller.
Kidnap? Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, well, if it's done without parental permission,
But
I
she was
don't
an
think
adult by that point, wasn't she? She was 19. I believe
The
she
first time that she left the country with him, she was 14.
with permission though, to go to the set for
I missed the details now, but
for the Fantastic Beasts. But the second time when she left,
well,
she
I
was
mean,
already an adult.
if we're talking about just like
The point is he's a bad person.
the
Like,
point,
yeah. The point is he's a bad person.
She obviously has been
Yeah.
conditioned by Ezra Miller for a
Absolutely.
long time and doesn't
And-
understand
and
the
for a lot of
consequences.
these, it's not like it's anything new for actors to be above the law. I'm literally picturing like the Disney just backing up a truck of money to this girl's house and just dropping it in her front yard. Like that's all they have to do, right? Like
I mean,
recant doesn't mean
if
anything.
he's
Recant doesn't mean
innocent,
it
then
didn't
show
happen. Yeah.
then show the footage from inside
Yeah.
the cab. I guess that like cab drivers probably have dash cams
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
the time
absolutely. Yeah.
that show both the inside and outside of the car. Therefore, drop the footage if he's innocent.
Also, is it possible that she could be in trouble for trying to take his phone, which is technically theft, if she's trying to steal someone's personal property?
Well, okay, hold on. Does it say they have video of the incident or that they have video of her recanting?
They have footage from inside the vehicle where the episode took place and testimony from the driver and others who both saw and heard the episode, and then 2 written statements from the woman recanting.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that they have written statements and that she hasn't just dropped the complaint with the police, right? Like,
well, she recanted, but the DA's moving forward with the charges. I don't
I
think
thought
they
Alvin
need-
Bragg had a lot more
Yeah.
on his plate with, the imminent indictment of Trump and all of that.
Yeah, whatever happened
But-
with that? That's the real question.
Yeah, I thought he would
we're
be
all
too
wondering.
busy to be dealing with Jonathan Majors drama.
I'm honestly surprised that he got arrested at all. Like that was actually shocking to me. Like it does feel in a weird way kind of coordinated because it's like celebrities get away with crap all the time. This feels, pardon me for saying, very mild compared to a lot of the stuff that these people
it
get
seems
away
weird
with.
too that it's making it feel like the attorneys have the video from the cab and not the police, and you would think the police would like.
Attorney can
least-
afford has more resources, I'm sure.
Well, couldn't you just get a judge to sign off a subpoena of the cab's records and get the cam? Like there are ways to compel people to turn over evidence, and so
Probably
theoretically they would
faster.
have already witnessed it faster than arresting him. Like they have to have enough probable cause to arrest him, and
They
they're
said
saying
the
that's
bruise
the
is on
bruising.
her.
But
Yeah.
then for their investigation, it's totally plausible for them to get the cab footage. Like
Probably
to me,
takes
in this
time to
kind
get
of
a warrant.
like he said, she said, I mean, obviously she's got bruises, so that's indicative of something more serious. Like the next step, if you're the police, would be to try to see like what cab did this happen in? Can we see the inside, right? Yeah. And instead, like, why does it seem like only the attorneys have this footage?
the attorney
Maybe the
can
New York
afford
police
to
are
pay
just
for it.
not telling us everything.
The attorney can afford to go to the guy and say, like, I will give you this much money for a copy of your security footage because it's Jonathan Majors. He's probably got more than enough money to afford an attorney who can put money under the table to get access to the footage first. Wouldn't be surprised
Yeah,
if
but
that
then
was the case.
You could still get it,
Yeah.
right?
And that likely will
Getting
happen.
it
This
first
is,
doesn't dismiss not getting it at all.
But the funny thing about this is like now that this has all come out, there are people who are just coming out of the woodwork to like just crap on Majors. There's people calling him a sociopath and calling him
What?
Yeah. So
Is there anything else that he did to piss them off, or
Yeah.
was it just this?
it was the 2 directors who talked about him. They said he was vicious. He alleged that Majors alleged vicious, cruel behavior and like in a bunch of other stuff from these directors, saying that he was a sociopath. So it says, this is one director. It says, A.B. Allen, a rising filmmaker, said, there's a particular actor relatively new on the scene who Twitter's violently fallen head over heels for, who in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being, both professionally and in his personal life. In every new viral thirst tweet about him drives me insane.
Thirst tweet?
Thirst tweet, yeah. Like,
I mean, those drive me insane regardless of whether the person in question is a sociopath.
Yeah.
And that's a word that people are very like loose with these days.
Yeah.
Sociopath and narcissist.
The other is Tim Nicolai, who says, I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. Folks at Yale and the broader New York City community have known about him for years. He's a sociopath and an abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. It's a shame it took this long.
You know, it makes you look bad when you say that it's been an open secret in my closed community for so many years that this person is an abusive sociopath. Now I'm so glad that it finally came out. Like, you're the bad guy in that story. Yep. You just admitted that you were covering for somebody who is allegedly an abusive sociopath.
Yeah, they had no problem.
It's the same thing with me too.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knew that Harvey Weinstein was doing this. Yeah. I'm so glad it finally came out. Like, you were complicit, though.
So what would you do if you're Disney or if you're the Army? What do you do here? Do they just wait it out and wait and see what happens?
The Army just needs to pull some strings and make sure that college stays unaffordable to middle class.
But that doesn't make military enlistment go up. Like, then you just have a bunch of people who don't join the military and they don't go to college, which isn't necessarily bad if you don't want to go.
Yeah. Or you can finally give people some stakes in this country and then they might feel like fighting for it.
Only 9% of people who are eligible to enlist in the military actually are interested in enlisting in the military. It's like such a small percentage that we don't have enough people who qualify and who would want to be in the military to fill those spots.
Do you know what the statistics are for people who join the military but come to like being in the military? Is there like a job satisfaction form that they fill out?
Anecdotal experience. Yeah. So like you would look at it, I assume you would look at it the same way you look at like college retention, right? Like if you look up any college, you can see what their retention is like. After the first year of being there, how many people leave? And that could be for a number of reasons, financial, or you just don't like the school or whatever's going on. But some schools retain, 70% of their freshman class, and some schools retain 30% of their freshman class.
Usually
and that's kind of interesting.
They drop out of school or they go to another college?
It can be a combination of reasons. Right. With the military, so you have a more locked-in contract than you do when you sign college, right? Like it's actually difficult to get out of the military once you are in. And so
they lie to these guys. They tell them some wild stuff.
They lie all the time.
They're like, oh, we're gonna put you in France where you can flirt with French chicks.
And basically French babes.
Yeah. I've known people who like take the is it the ASVAB, the test that you take to like see where you're gonna place, and they'll be like, yep, you got this score, perfect, you want this job, that's no problem, you qualified. And then the second they go to slide them the contract, unless you read it, the job that you're signing up for is actually different, and you have to be the one to catch it at the last moment. Like, why would they do that?
They did an episode of NCIS about a guy who's like he's a sneaky military recruiter.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that happens all the time because there's so much pressure. The part of it is if you take away the people who get removed from the military because they're dishonorably discharged or something else, you'd have to look at the people who then re-enlist, right? Like the retention is also not there. And that could also be for a number of reasons. I just know from people in my life who've been in the military, like especially the people in my life who didn't go through college first, so they weren't on the officer track, they were not happy. They felt like they were not getting the opportunities that they would have been afforded to them unless they went to college. But to go to college, you have to spend the GI Bill. Like it becomes this weird cycle where it's like, it's a system that I don't want to be a part of. Like, why do you need to be go to college to become a commissioned officer? And I think there's a lot of reckoning with our understanding of the higher education system that like we need to have to be able to talk about like why people don't want to be in the military.
So we need Jonathan Majors dressed up telling you like you're going to go fight for Zelensky over there. That's the honest version.
Their mistake was thinking that young people coming out of high school care about Marvel actors.
I mean, he's also in
or that the people who watch Marvel are qualified to join the military.
Oh yeah.
70% of
like is there a correlation?
Well, 70% of, this is really mean, but 70% of 17 to 24-year-olds who theoretically would be in military recruiting age can't
got
qualify.
One from Joshua French.
Yep.
He said,
drug abuse and wait.
I spent 20 years re-enlisted for bonuses. I always went where I was promised as active duty. As a reservist, I volunteered for my deployments.
Okay.
Yeah. There are some people who find it really successful, and I think that's great, but I think there are other people who find that the pipeline of what happens when you're a non-commissioned officer is really frustrating.
But the question is, Joshua, did you join because whoever the example, like who would have been who would have been Jonathan Majors 20 years ago?
Just make more military propaganda movies like they did in the 2000s.
Yeah,
it worked.
Well, they're with this like video, they're trying to relaunch the be all you can be or something slogan that was popular in the 80s, right? So like they are trying to bring back the retro nostalgia, very similar to Top Gun.
See,
right?
that's the problem.
Why don't they get Tom Cruise?
They should have had that.
They should have had Tom Cruise,
They should
but
have had
he is
that
a white
ad.
male, and so he's probably not as
promoting
desirable
the
to
Air
them.
Force, not the Army.
I think it's also worth considering that it's awesome if you found your place in the military and it worked for you, but how many of the people that you enlisted with left, right? It reminds me of corporate consulting, right?
Yeah.
Like I've had friends who go to college and they get this really high fancy corporate consulting job and they travel and they work extremely hard, and then the people leave pretty quickly. Every year, a certain number of people leave because it's getting narrower and narrower, and because it's a very demanding lifestyle. Not everyone who's in the military wants to do that for 40 years.
I do believe, guys, that I've seen a lot more reasonable takes about Jonathan Majors. Like I saw a lot of people who have very reasonable takes, but still posting like all of you. Maybe their timelines just look different than mine, but their timelines, they're saying like all of you people who were judging Jonathan Majors before all the facts are in. I'm like, I didn't see anyone saying that. Everybody that I saw was saying like, innocent until proven guilty. Who knows? He said, she said.
I'm seeing a lot of like, Schadenfreude watching Marvel burn would be fun, but this isn't going to cause that much of a crisis for Marvel.
The stuff that I saw was like, do we really think this guy was going to give us a huge military recruitment class? Like, obviously innocent proven guilty, but like, maybe this isn't the loss of a campaign. You know what I mean? But if they don't make their numbers, are they going to point to this and be like, well, you guys wouldn't let us have Jonathan Majors? So.
Probably.
I did, however, put a poll up for you guys. I said, should Jonathan Majors be losing work due to allegations against him? I got yes. The two options were yes, he did it. Why would she lie? And the second option was no, innocent until proven guilty. As of right now, 85% say innocent until proven guilty. He should not be losing work. But there have been cases recently there have been a couple of stories in the news recently, whether we're talking Royland losing his job right after all the stuff that came out.
Joshua French said, I joined in 1996. My father was a Navy SEAL in Nam. My grandfather was a Master Chief in World War II.
Master Chief.
A legacy.
That's
wow.
cool. I think there are lots of people. Like, that's the other thing that we talk about when we talk about military recruiting. There are fewer people who know what is happening in the military. So if you have a family member and you're aware of like the benefits or you're aware of the lifestyle, like I think that does make you more likely to consider joining. It's not as abstract, maybe. I will say Jonathan Majors is not actually, I mean, unless there's another development I don't know about, he hasn't gotten dropped by whatever.
Just the Army one.
Just the
right
Army.
now.
And I don't think they asked for the money back. Like they already paid him for the ad. So they are losing money on this, but he's not having to pay back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's actually losing nothing.
But how many people are aware of this going on that would affect like military?
It's pretty.
sign-ups?
I mean, it's picking up a lot of steam.
This has
It's
been a
pretty
big.
interesting.
This was a big story all weekend.
The Army Marketing Office responded to the situation.
No way.
Yeah.
Like, that in itself is bizarre to me that
They said
would even need
innocent
to.
until proven guilty, but because this is basically because it's a hot issue, like we're going to pull
I
the
feel
ads.
like innocent until proven guilty is the biggest lie in this country, at least in this era. Like that doesn't apply at all. Right now, it's like if
because
you
the
get
companies aren't set up in a way that allows them to behave like that. They're asked to respond immediately.
if there's an
anytime something
allegation, basically you are tarred and feathered.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.